Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overexposed, the BWRM podcast where we delve into the ins and outs of running a real estate photography and videography business. My name's Dave Temple.
And my name is Jackie Kirk. We talk a lot on here about what we think agents want, but we thought it would be far better to hear it from the horse's mouth. So we thought we'd start with one of Dave's favorite clients, Joel Hood from Joel Hood Property. Joel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. Glad I'm a favourite.
One off, Joel.
Your top 100, I think, Dave?
Yeah, probably.
Said he scraped in there. So, Joel, I'll just get straight into it. How and why did you get into this line of work?
Yeah, so I'm 37. I've been in the industry for pretty much smack bang on a decade now. But I did a decade of plumbing after I finished school, and I really enjoyed it. And I did it in two different states, Queensland and Victoria. However, it got to a point where I didn't really have interaction with clients anymore, and I did actually miss that day-to-day interaction with the clients. And auntie and uncle were in the industry, and so we think that you go well. And it was daunting because I'll be honest, I just was not into salespeople at all. I just did not want to be that stereotypical salesperson. And I got the advice, find a problem and then find the solution. And simply just ask questions and solve those issues, and you're only going to head in the right direction. So my background was very much, I suppose, from a plumbing background, being on large sites and having continuous issues. And my bosses were fantastic in that they instilled a great work ethic in me. And so when I went across to real estate, it wasn't about trying to sell the client. It was simply, what are you seeking? How can I help you find it? And then if I didn't have it on the books, I'd then go try and find it. And I think just that relationship style of selling clicked, and it was a really strong start to my real estate career on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria. So initially it was really just to have day-to-day interactions with people. I got a little bit sick just standing in a trench on my own. Or with another plumber looking at his crack, and if you can say that. And then, yeah, as you get older, obviously you just sort of want to spend more time with people, and it was sort of a natural progression. But because I also had that building background, I did take a really strong liking to property and how it was designed and built, and how I could give clients advice on just making sure that it was best presented for sale, and then speaking to buyers about what they could do to the property to make it their own. If they had an objection around something, I could show them how to maybe put another bathroom in, or how easy it would be to change some fixtures. So that background knowledge definitely helped.
So that's very interesting. It's something we actually talk to our members about a lot. We get a lot of creatives joining us, and, creatives, they obviously want to create, take beautiful pictures. That's the thing they love. Talking to clients is what they love. Most people love talking to people in our industry. But as soon as we say sales, it's this either very intimidating or very off-putting word. And you'll know this more than anyone, I guess. Real estate agents obviously have the unfortunate reputation of just being salesmen in the worst kind of way of thinking of the word. So how do you go about that? It sounds like you've totally transformed your idea of sales. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I guess from my end, I look and say, what does the consumer or the client want? So there's no point in them telling me how good I am. There's no me telling them how good I am. There's no point in me, ramming information down their throat they're not simply interested in. So in my line of work, they generally want to know, how's the market tracking? What could be some information that I could give them through the course of 2023 that they would actually find useful. This year, we've obviously had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to interest rates. We've obviously had a lot of concerns around the cost of living and affordability, issues with rentals here on the Sunshine Coast. So just generally giving them a little bit of information they might read in the local paper that they would actually take some interest in. They might not be selling, but it's okay. I've got a rough idea of if I needed to liquidate my asset or my investment properties, how would I be sitting? So I would think for someone like a photographer, for instance, their client is potentially me as a real estate agent. And so if they are looking to reach out to, real estate agents, what would they actually find valuable? What content could they be providing to that agent to try and get an in to then obviously get on the list to be the second or third photographer, or even maybe be that preferred one? I would personally look at it and say, okay, what could Dave, for instance, if he was new to the area, provide me that I would find interesting? And after a little while, I would go, you know what, I'm liking what this guy's sending me. I want to give him a go. And I reckon he would get an in. And then if he could prove
Mm.
himself, he would become the preferred photographer. And Dave and I have now worked together, I think it's more than 8 years. And he was very good in terms of coming to the office and just checking in. We already had someone that we were previously using. Actually, it's got to be over 9 years. Is it 9 years now, Dave?
Yeah, it's got to be approaching the 10. When do I get my gift for 10?
When do I get mine?
This
Huh?
is it. This is the gift. Joel is on your podcast. You're welcome.
But like I would think that if if he was to have sent me, hey Joel, just letting you know, like actually Dave did do this. Dave was actually updating me on new things that he was doing that other photographers in our area weren't doing and could provide, whether it was packages back then, it was twilights and virtual tours, things that were maybe a little bit new to the marketplace that the dinosaurs weren't doing. But even if it was a monthly email, for instance, and it was simply, here's what we've shopped this month, and here's how the amount of views our clients got or our agents got for their clients, I'd find that really useful. So I guess for me, going back to sales, I'm just trying to simply put information in front of a client that they'll want to read instead of simply asking for the business all the time. It's information that they'll find interesting, and then I'll ask for an appraisal. And then the next month, the
Okay.
information they'll find interesting, and then I'll ask for the business. So it's got to be give and take.
So setting yourself up as an expert and building that trust. Do you remember what it was specifically that got you to give Dave a go, or was it just kind of a long line of consistent pestering?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously he was personable and likable when he came to the office. Yeah, believe it or not.
That was 9 years ago.
Yeah, which Dave is this that we're talking about?
I'll tell you though, 100% he got the business because he consistently followed up. So, and this is what I tell team members, sales agents that we either have in our national network or that I train or mentor is unfortunately, you look at some really ordinary agents and you think, how can they still be in the business? And it's because they are consistent. So, anyone that's wanting to try and secure business and sales in any way, whether it's a photographer or a salesperson, you just have to simply follow up. And now that follow up can be passive in the form of text message, obviously email, videos, social media, or it can obviously be active. And in Dave's case, he went straight for the jugular, which obviously was smart of him. I wasn't super busy back then. So I was generally at the office when he popped in and he would leave a little bit of information. That was probably the best way of going about it. But it was his consistency. I think the information was relevant to me, but had he not come in to deliver it, he probably wouldn't have gotten that first shoot. And then obviously seeing the first shoot, seeing the 24-hour turnaround that he was offering, which I wasn't getting from the previous photographer. And then also I had an issue with the other photographer just not getting on well with my vendors. And for me, that was really important. So at the moment, Dave comes to my shoots a lot of the time with his wife, Nikki, and she just basically chats to the clients and keeps them happy. I'm obviously running around with Dave, and they just look and go, okay, this is not just one person showing up and taking 10 different photos. This is a really well thought out process with someone like Nikki that's really friendly and keeping them happy.
And we also have Andrea coming along to do the copy as well. So it looks like, I mean, you've got your team turning up. We've also got the full team doing the photography and everything turning up. So it looks like, something's happening here.
Mm.
Yeah, we want to be a professional outfit that they hopefully haven't experienced before, and maybe we're just lifting the bar in terms of expectations. You could look and say, okay, well, is that the best use of my time? But that is the model that I've chosen to work with in Queensland that I'm intimately involved. And I'll be honest, if we don't get it the way that I like in terms of the marketing, we won't get the response from the buyers, and therefore probably won't get the seller's price that they deserve, or I just won't get the result in general. So it's really important we get it right from the start.
So, Joel, you spoke a lot about the consistency of Dave following up and how regularly he was popping in. So we tell people this quite a lot because obviously it's worked for Dave, it's worked for me. And a lot of times people say they're just really worried about being annoying. They don't want to annoy the agents. What would you say to that? Do you think it would get annoying?
It could if the agent's busy, and that is tough because you can't text them and say when's a good time to come in because they could tell
Mm,
you and then they'll get pulled to an appointment and then they won't be there. Like today's a really good
mm,
example. My day is pretty flat out, and I'm smiling because obviously I've broken into a new marketplace now, and I actually enjoy that. I think I took it for granted in Victoria, and I was just consistently angry with the fact that I was busy. And now I've come to absolute peace and quiet and wanted to be busy again. And we're finally getting there. Um, but
mm.
I think it's just at the end of the day, when it's like if I was door knocking or I was cold calling in our new marketplace, you have to just pull away from the concern of what could go wrong. Obviously, you two have done it, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just have to make it a part of your day. And you know what? If I was in your shoes and I was going to do that personally, I would make it a little bit of fun and I would take in some collateral and I would have a handwritten card prepared in case the agent didn't have time to see me and the receptionist pushes me off. And I'd sticky tape a little piece of chocolate next to it and I'd say something like, I've got a whole box of favorites for the first shoot that we do together or something, make it a little bit of fun
Yeah.
because to me, I find I break that sales mold with clients when I just, maybe get down to their level, relate, and remind them I'm not there to sell them on something. I'm there to offer them something, and I would like the opportunity to work with them, but I'm not going to pressure them into doing it. So I don't know. I think if they were to look at it that way and go, you know what, I'm delivering 10 cards today with my collateral and 10 chocolates. And I'm going to shoot them an SMS when I leave and say, listen, it was a shame I didn't get to catch you today. But I hope business is going really well. They can do little things as well. Like you could be commenting on social medias. I'm sure they're doing saying, hey, that's a fantastic new listing. Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. You're just basically looking to formulate a relationship. And what I
Mm.
actually look at now, and this is what I would imagine you guys have got in your businesses too as well, it's like, who do you actually want to work with? So you probably don't want to chase someone you don't want to work with long term. And so if you're getting someone that just really disrespects you when you go in there, don't keep chasing that person. So if I do an appraisal or I speak to a person and they're not the sort of person I want to chase the next 10 years, I just genuinely don't want to work with them, they're off the list. I don't follow them up. So I would say the same thing. I know Dave, can I say the swear word on here? Are we allowed to? Was it a no dickhead policy that you had, Dave? Was your
It is a no dickhead policy, yes.
yeah?
Have you got
So
that for your clients as well, Dave?
Yep.
Okay.
so let's be honest though. If you've got a long term view and you're thinking, okay, I plan on being this for a while, you don't want to go to work cringing every day. So, like, I don't want to pick up the phone
Mm,
and have to call a seller that is really not someone that I want to speak to. They're just always unhappy. They're always complaining. I'm like, life's too short. That's what I know. So, I
mm.
would look and say, okay, well, if you deliver 10 cards and one is an absolute prick, then just go deliver 9 the next time. You don't want to work with that 10th person. And what I tend to find is the nice people generally do well. So, if you connect with a nice person, they're probably going to do even more business in future, and that'll be someone that'll keep feeding you for time to come.
I think you also attract what you kind of put out there as well. I just know that the successful photographers I know are the people that are responsive and organized and good and happy and good with people and who care deeply about what they're doing and doing it properly. And the agents that they win are the same. The agents that kind of tend to fall away are the ones that are price focused or want to cut corners or trying to beat you down or are disorganized. They don't tend to stick around for long with the good photographers. So it is quite interesting. You watch these businesses where they're actually quite similar and they grow together in a very positive way.
I agree.
Going back just about the point of contact, Joel, obviously you guys spend a lot of your day on the phone. Would you say that the best way of speaking to an agent is to try and drop in, or how do you feel about phone calls and emails and things?
So I look at how I've grown things in my marketplace very quickly, and I just had all of your lead options. So I basically looked and said, how can I contact a seller to let them know that I'm in real estate and I'm trying to obviously book an appraisal and I'd like to sell their property? And so I looked at all the different lead fields. We had obviously, social media, email marketing, SMS, you've got newspaper, billboards, sponsorships, local community groups. Then you've got the hard stuff, obviously letterbox dropping, cold calling, door knocking. There are so many that you can do. And so when I went to restart my business in Queensland, I basically thought, for me, there's no point in mucking around. I've done it at a very high level. Let's get there as quickly as possible. So I said, I'm going to saturate every single one of these lead fields, and I'm going to throw a fair bit of my time and money at it. So you have to look at, and this is what I say to agents that are looking to do the same, you have to look at your own situation. How much time do you have in the week? What are your commitments? Do you have a family? Do you have a particular lifestyle that you want to live? What do you eventually want to earn? I want to get back to doing 100 plus sales a year. But if you only want to do 30, you probably wouldn't want to fill that. So in terms of photographers, how busy do they want to be? And how much money can they invest? And because that will basically determine it. So I like passive marketing because you're subliminally being in people's minds. So for me right now, because I have been passively attacking people for 12 months in my marketplace, once I get a sold result and I make a call, they're recognizing me and they feel comfortable with me. So it's not like a total stranger. So to give you a really good example, which I'm going to give to the group shortly, national group that I'm with, I target 3 separate suburbs. There's about 12 to 1,500 homes that I target in each one. Now, I sent out the exact same letterbox drop to all 3, but I absolutely, at the moment, Dave, we are dominating one and frustrating a couple of competitors. The drop generated me 10 face-to-face appointments, and I got none in the other 2. So people had obviously recognized that I had been very active in that marketplace. They've been receiving my material because I was so active, they were getting more and more. They were getting more just listed and just sold posts. They were getting more emails of recent sales. And so therefore, they wanted to work with a person that they had seen more. And the other 2 suburbs, I didn't really get anything because I haven't broken into yet. So my belief is if the photographers are putting information out there, that when they do go for asking the business or the close, they're more likely to get a positive response. So if they're putting, hey, this is our most recent shoot, and it turned out really well, and here's how it went for the client, then I would be more comfortable working with that person because I know that they've been doing a bit lately, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, sorry to nail you down though, just on the basis of, from your point of, as I say, I imagine you spend a lot of time on the phone. I know you spend a lot of time on the phone. So if photographers are calling you, are they going to get, they're generally, I imagine, not going to get too much airtime because you want to be not talking to them and talking to prospective clients yourself. Is it better for them to come into the office, do you think, if they want your business? Or are you ever going to read an email from them, or what's?
If the email's got fun and interesting content, I will read it. Social media posts, same thing. I would just look and say, expect the person's time poor, get to the point. So we do role play training for our agents on a Wednesday around the country. And the first thing I teach them is to simply ask permission for having the conversation when they answer. G'day, Dave. It's Joel here from Joel Property. How are you going today? What's this about? I just want to let you know, super quick, that I'm actually appraising one of your neighbour's properties, but have I got you at a bad time? And the first thing they're going to say is, yes, I've got no time, I've got to go. It's like, okay, not a problem at all. And then I'll move on to the next one, handwritten card. And I might say, listen, if you do happen to want me to pop into yours, I'm just up the street anyway. The next person will say, because I've asked them, have a moment, have I got you at a bad time? I'll change it up each time. They might say, no, you know what, I've got a minute or 2, but that's all. Next thing you know, I've spoken to them for 10 minutes. So the one thing I would just simply say is if you're going to call them, ask for permission. So ask, have I got you at a bad time? Have you got two minutes to chat? We want to speak about, what we're currently doing. You have to ask for that. If they say no, well, there's your answer. You're not going to get shouted at. Likewise, if you go into the office and the receptionist says it's too busy, no dramas. For me, though, it's all about the follow-up. It's to be consistent with that. So if Dave called me once every month to 2 months and he dropped into the office every month and he did a handwritten card and he did a chocolate, what are the competitors doing? They're not doing anything near that. So to me, I've got to work with someone. I'm a progressive agent and I want to work with a progressive photographer. It tells me he's passionate about what he does. He sounds like a bit of fun. I want to work with this person. So
He's got chocolate.
it's got chocolate. Yeah. And you probably even want to ask the receptionist and go, does he like chocolate? Am I going the wrong way about this here? But I just think you have to look and go, okay, where's the benchmark? And what can I do to get some attention and exceed it? So for me, I don't think anything's off limits. I just think you have to be consistent with whatever you choose to do. And I think if you're going to make that phone call, you just need to say at the beginning, have you got a moment to chat? And if they say no, not a problem, and respect that, because the next time you call and you do it again, they're more likely to go, you know what, this person respects my time. I'm going to give them something right now.
Yeah. So not as soon as they're saying, I'm busy, you go, well, it's only going to take 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Like, just really listen to them and say, okay, because I think we're all getting called a lot by people we don't want to speak to.
Let it go and just send a follow-up text. That will be so much better, because then they're reading it and they're thinking, you know what, this person respects my time, and they've gone to the app. So give you a great example. People come to all of our open homes on the weekend, and then I call them on a Monday, and they are so busy on a Monday, they're back into it. Now, I'll probably only get 50% of people to answer, even for ones that I've got a good relationship with, but I will get everybody return a text. So if I call them on a Monday, I then send them a text if I've missed them, and then I follow up on a Tuesday with a call, and then I send a text if I miss them. And the text is very, fluffy. It's really more on the lines of just saying, hey, just wanted to quickly follow up. You popped into open on the weekend. I know that may not have been one for you, but we're obviously selling a fair bit without the need of advertising at the moment. Would like to know if you had a particular wish list. We'd love to help you out. And so, you're obviously trying to give them something. Now, I will always get a response. And I usually the first on the Monday, it's saying, can I grab some feedback from the owner? Was there any further interest? When they don't respond on the Monday, you kind of know. No return call, no return text. They're not interested. On the Tuesday, I'm actually trying to work out, can I help them? Are they definitely dead in the water? And I will always get a response. So I think you just have to look and say, okay, cool, no good. Follow up with the text. And if you're popping into the office, I just can't see how you couldn't pick up business if you followed that type of mentality.
You make it sound very easy.
The great thing about sending texts as well is, I think, generally speaking, if someone texts you and you're at all interested in hearing from them in the future, you put their name in your phone. So, when it comes to time for them to actually call somebody, you're already in there.
I think the other thing that I know that good agents do, and it sounds like you do this, Joel, is you understand that some relationships are a slow burn and it's a longer process. Whereas we get some newbies that'll go in and they'll take that first no as a forever no. When it isn't, you're still building up. You're building up that trust. You're going to follow up with the text. You're going to try again next month, see if anything's different, and not be scared to do that. But it's like, once you've visited all your agents once, that's not the end of the road. That's really just the beginning. You've done step one, which is something we've really tried to teach people.
It's hard because I understand it's confronting, and it's also people are photographers, they're creative like my wife, and they would struggle to then turn on the sales pitch. I think it's more just I personally would feel more comfortable with a human being that made an effort. Rachel, that's in your group, obviously checked in with me, was just really relatable, and I thought this is someone that, I would feel really comfortable working with in future. So even though it was a no, because obviously working with Dave and whatnot, it was, okay, I think you need to speak to Dave because these are the sorts of people I reckon you want to be mingling with. So yeah, you've got to, unfortunately, it can be confronting and it can be a little bit difficult. And there are days you go, oh my goodness, I just got 10 no's. But you really do. And I think that's great. Obviously, if people listen to this and they speak to other photographers that have gone through that process, just to nurture them to say, listen, you will come out the good end, but it doesn't matter what industry you're in, there is some level of sales in it, and you're just going to have to go through that difficult period. It's the nature of the beast. So.
But reimagining what sales is as well. It's not sales. We're not showing up, with a briefcase full of, I don't know, detergent. I don't know what people did in the old days. It's like you said, it's building relationships. It's finding out, it's asking questions, finding out what the problem is, and then coming with a solution. It's not, shiny suits anymore. I've got a difficult question for you. It might be a very easy question, actually. So a lot of people here, one of the biggest challenges is you come up with someone who's got a really good relationship with their clients. And obviously you and Dave have a very good relationship. So hopefully none of Dave's competitors are listening to this. But What do you think it would take for someone to win your business? I mean, Rachel's come in and really what's happened there is wonderful, is that we've got a great new member who's doing extremely well on our team. So what would it take, do you think, for Dave to lose you as a client?
Well, I think in Dave's case, it's going to take a pretty big mistake or a series of mistakes on his end because he's built 9 years of sweat equity realistically. So, and that's why I guess I sort of say, you want to figure out who is the tribe that you're chasing that you're going to work with. So when I speak to people, if they have got a very good, strong, long-standing relationship with an agent, sold 3 of their family's properties, and I know that agent's good, I won't chase them. It's a pointless exercise. There's plenty of other people to follow up. If I was to see that they had a long-standing relationship, but that agent was a dinosaur, and I think they could respect someone new and fresh and hungry, then yes, I would follow it up. So if Rachel could spot that Dave was dropping his guard and he was getting a bit slack with his editing, and the turnaround time was dropping to 48 hours, and things were just getting a little bit slow, then I think there would definitely be an opportunity for someone to pick up my business. I think it's just that you probably want to look and go, okay, who are the agents in the area and who are they using and where are the weak spots? I want to make sure that I can do better, I can offer more, should I say, than what they are currently doing. So in this case, it's going to be very, very difficult for someone else to get the business off Dave. I don't care if they're charging less. It's more the service that Dave and his team bring to my team and my clients. And as long as that stays at that level, he's going to be impossible to beat. But there will be plenty of other people, as we've seen with Rachel, that she's been able to pick up all of their business. And Rachel would absolutely be my secondary. Dave's got to take a holiday at some point.
Never.
He's going to need to apply for a passport first.
And he may decide to go to a different area or move overseas, or something might happen with his health and he might make a change. So people aren't in it forever. So, for Rachel to remain in contact and keep some level of contact would be fine.
So you said something interesting there, Joel. You said even if someone came in offering a cheaper price, how important is price to an agent with photographers, do you think, to a good agent?
Yeah, so definitely a difference between an agent and maybe an agent that is towards the top of their game and understands the quality of marketing. So I restarted up here and I wanted to sell particular properties. And so I knew that anything I put out to the marketplace that didn't resemble my brand and what I was wanting to sell couldn't go out. So if a seller wouldn't commit to a particular part of advertising that was important to me, and Dave knows this because I'll say to him on certain properties, you've got free reign. Take what photos you need. I want extra. And I don't want to get the next day and get some stuff back and go, we're missing things here. So I'll personally invest my own money, and I believe the quality of properties we're getting are some of the best in the area, and that is now manifesting more. So I'm not getting calls from people with entry-level properties that are, smashed to bits and are really poorly presented. We're getting calls from people with really good quality properties that are liking what we're putting online and saying, we'd like you to market our home like you did for them, and the great result that they got. So we did have to say no to some people at the beginning in terms of the properties, just didn't think they were going to be the right fit. But 12, 15 months on, we're now benefiting from it. I have no problems with getting really good vendor paid advertising. I'm definitely probably up towards the top for my area, I think probably by a fair bit. But I believe in advertising. I really do. The videos that we do, everything that we put out to the marketplace, to me, gives us a really good sense that the vendor's property is marketed to its maximum potential. So if I take multiple offers to the seller on the final day of closing, auction, private sale, whatever it might be, I can say confidently, we've not missed anything. It's a really good, high quality photo board at the front. We gave out great high gloss 4-page brochures. We did all the photos, floor plan, did a great, fantastic edited video with Deep House. Thanks to Dave. That's my favorite music selection. We push that through the audience maximizer at realestate.com and domain. We basically put everything out there. And I know if the seller signs one of those contracts, that's the absolute best that we could have done because I didn't pull back. So if Dave said to me, "Oh, Joel, let's just pull something out of this particular marketing package to make it feasible for you to work with me," I kind of go, "Oh, to me, that's only actually going to impact my seller getting the result." If he's prepared to do a shoot for free or something like that, hey, that's absolutely fine because then I'm getting the opportunity to work with him. But I don't want to pull things out of my offering to my clients because I see the value in it, and my clients now see the value in spending that level of money to make sure their property is properly exposed to the marketplace.
So it sounds like you've positioned yourself as a really premium agent, and to go back 12 months when you've moved to a brand new territory and actually be turning away listings when that's all you kind of really want is you need listings, you need to grow your presence, but to be saying no to listings shows that you're quite confident in that strategy. And obviously it's worked. And Dave, it's probably similar to people turning down agents that ask them to drop their price below a level that's actually sustainable. Is what are you trying to build in the long term? Yes, you could say yes to a job right now and you have a job. Yay, that's a tick. But in the long term, you're not going to be putting yourself where you want to be, are you?
Yeah, I mean, cheap and nasty is one of those diminishing returns things. There's always someone cheaper and nastier to go to. So it's not a great strategy. I think from generally speaking, when people get their first job, this is one of the traps they fall into. It can be a freebie. And thinking it's only a small house, a knockover maybe, I'll just do the bare minimum necessary. I always go into it with the idea of I'm going to do the best thing that I can possibly do for this house. If I'm going to do a freebie, I'm in control. You're going to get the best marketing you can possibly get the way that I would present it. And that's one of the things we try and drum into photographers when they're getting that first job with people. So same thing, sounds like the same thing Joel's doing really, attracting the customers that he wants by putting stuff out there that the way he wants to do it, and going full out and giving everything he can do on their first go.
I'd much rather do a free shoot for a new agent and throw everything at it than drop my price to win a job later down the line. You can do a free shoot, show them it's worth it. There's nothing to lose, and it shows them that you don't have a level that you're willing to drop your price to either, because once you've dropped it there, you're going to have to keep dropping it. Whereas you go, I'm going to do a freebie, don't worry about the price, I'm going to show you that it's worth it, and then you can tell them the price, but they've already seen the value.
Now, I guess I can say from experience as well, I'm assuming there are other agents in the lounge room. Well, I know there are because I've had other agents offering free photography and everything, the main competitor, Dave, up until I think probably the last 12 months. I've never had a client say to me, "Oh, looking at your marketing schedule, which is itemized with everything, photos, floor plan, the whole lot, oh, the other agent doesn't charge for photography, or the other agent's photographer is $100 less than yours." It never comes up. So I guess to the photographers that are out there, I would say when you're putting out good quality product and that agent is then getting obviously a good response from clientele in the field, they don't necessarily care exactly what it costs because they want the good quality. So the most important thing is, like you said, do that free shoot, Jackie. Throw everything at it. I mean, the amount of respect I'd have for someone that is going to the nth angle to get all the best shots and to give feedback to make sure it's perfect and they're not even getting paid, I'd be like, wow, this is the sort of person that I would want to work with. And that marketing resembles really, well in the marketplace. I'd be thinking, okay, well, that's what I want all my properties to look like. So yeah, you want to steer clear. There's going to be Joel, who's obviously got a long-standing relationship with Dave. You're probably not going to get his business. You're going to have a couple of cheap and nasties who probably don't want their business. But there's plenty of other people there that you could fit in with. And you know what? Dave's helped me grow my business in Queensland by providing such good quality. So you've got to look and go, okay, well, he took a chance. Well, I didn't take a chance. He probably knew from my past experience, but he started working with me and I was doing no business. And now obviously we're doing exceptionally well. So I would think you could be, as a photographer out there, a value add-on to an agent. Oh, they might only be doing a shoot or two a month. But who knows what they could be doing once you up your game, because it's only going to enhance their business and they're going to bring it back to you.
Well, there's also people watching what you're doing and wanting to be the next Joel. So, And
then I've got the problem of Dave now starting to shoot for my competitors, and then I have to work out different ways have a point of difference. So good problem to have.
What's the competitive atmosphere like where you are, and how does it differ to where we're in Victoria? I know that, you know, around here amongst good photographers, there's a level of mutual respect, but sometimes it can get quite, you know, if I win a client or someone who's thought they'd had a good relationship with that client, it can be, people do take it personally. How's it been moving from Victoria up to Queensland? As an outsider, which Queenslanders tend to not like. Oh, can we say that on the podcast? Probably not.
No, yeah, you definitely can. No, I had to get my plates changed very quickly from Vic to Queensland, as Dave did. But no, it's very different. It's very different. Like, obviously, you've done plumbing in several states. I've done real estate in a couple of states now, and I see it's obviously things are done differently wherever you go. But yeah, the level of professionalism in Victoria and level of respect amongst the agents, it was extremely competitive. And the agents in Victoria were very well trained, invested their time in training. And they took the career very seriously, I found, in my marketplace. And it was, you know, you had to basically outwork and outperform your competition to get the business. And here, I've found, unfortunately, a sense of entitlement. Like, I've been here for some time now and it's mine. And I've obviously come in and gone, you know, for me, I took real pleasure out of raising the bar in my previous area, and all the agents were doing it. So I was looking forward to doing it here, but I've had a lot of pushback from taking business from people. And I guess that's the thing you have to remember, is that when you start to get successful, people are going to throw tomatoes, expect it's going to come. I've had an agent try to run me off the road. I've had an agent come to the office and berate me in front of my staff. But you just got to be the bigger person. And I look at the long-term game. I'm 37, plan on being this for a while. I plan on lifting the industry standard here. I want to look back and kind of go, you know what, real estate agents are the least trusted agent of industry in Australia. I'd love to see it to go to number 46 rather than number 48, and try to help. But I guess, you know, that's where I would look at any sort of aspiring photographers to kind of go, you know what, looking back at my career, geez, we've really upped our game. The offering that we've done for clients, the service that we gave, got to take it more than just a job. It's got to be that you're out there to actually change something.
Mm. And so, having done this for a while now, have you worked with a lot of photographers? Did Dave meet you when you were just starting, or have you encountered a few people doing this? And if so, I guess what's the difference that you're seeing?
Oh, so basically, I inherited a photographer from the first office I worked at with my auntie and uncle, and he basically, you know, did a fairly basic service in terms of, I think, as I mentioned, you didn't have a great relationship with clients. It was kind of like, I'm here to shoot your property, not how do you see your home shot. And by the way, do you mind if we move that from this room and that from that room, because I'm getting a lot of clutter in the shot. It was just like snap, 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 snap. And I get it back 2 days later, and then I look at it and go, this is absolute rubbish. And then I'm like, now I'm going to have to reshoot, or I'm going to have to tell the seller that's the way we're going to have to do it. And then Dave came along, and it was a 24-hour turnaround, which I was like, you know what, that sounds a lot better. And all of a sudden he's saying, well, what if we take it from this angle? What if we remove that from the shot? And then he's saying to me, hey, we can actually use virtual furniture for this room. We can actually rub out that hideous couch that they've got. Because again, for me, what I put out to the marketplace, yes, the buyer comes to the property and they see that the brown couch is there and it wasn't in the photos, but that probably got them to the property because the quality of image was there to at least get them to look at it, versus the hideous brown couch. They said, oh, I'm not even going to look at that place, so I can't even do my job. And conversely, of the 20 or 30 people that viewed the property versus the 2, 3, 5,000 that actually looked at it online, my brand is still strong as a result of Dave's advice, you know, on that property. So I can't really speak, sorry, unfortunately, of a whole heap of other photographers. I think he came early on, but I think his knowledge and his interest in and passion for the industry, and he was bringing up things, offerings that others weren't, you know, doing at that stage. So it would also be important for photographers to look and go, okay, well, how can I make this easy for the agent and their clients? And we do our twilight shoots, always a twilight shoot, non-negotiable, unless it's tenanted and we have to beg them. I think we've had one this year we couldn't do, but that's fine. and we do everything between 4 and 6. So basically, photos, floor plan, video, drone, and then the copywriter attends, and then I'm there. And we get everything back the next day. So I think vendors are really wowed by that process because it's quick, it's efficient. If they have kids, if they have pets, they know, okay, great, head out for a bite to eat or go to the park. They want to be involved. They know to be there from work by that time. But I just think there's none of this, okay, going one day to do one thing, one day to do another, and then sporadically during the week they feel exhausted. It's like, okay, this is when it's happening. Would you like to be there or not? So just kind of look and go, okay, how can I be efficient with my time as a photographer to get more shoots in? And also, how can I make it really simple for the agent and their clients to want to go through this process moving forward?
I think it's, yeah, like we said from the beginning, figure out what the problems are and how you can solve them, and what Mel said, and I think it was one of our very first podcasts, is just be easy to deal with, make life easier. So Joel, you've obviously been doing this for a long time with Dave, and I think I've known Dave roughly about the same amount of time, and I've watched how the industry's changed and everyone's improved and we've all been learning. And one of the big things that we've all learned in that time is video and how to produce good video. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were one of the earliest adopters with video with Dave. Is that right?
Yep, and it wasn't always pretty, but it was real, and we've gotten better. So what do they say? Don't let perfect get in the way of progress. So you just, for me, the best way for me to get people out there, and obviously as Instagram and YouTube and whatnot and TikTok have continued to grow and grow and grow in the last decade, video is more watched. It's more about me. I got told by my last client that my profile photo must have been my younger brother. Nice little stab in the guts there. I was like, thanks, Bob. I'm like, I only took that 12 months ago. Obviously, I'm aging quickly, but
So getting run off the road will do to you, hey? Like death threats for being too good.
must do. But yeah, we've done video for a long time and we've done it consistently. And as Dave would know, we never miss a monthly market wrap now, never. It's not always super organized, but it gets so much easier because you've done it so many times. And we never miss a property video. We just have to tweak it. If there's certain things we don't want shot, we don't shoot them, but there's always a video.
And do you struggle to sell video to vendors? How do you get people to see the value in video?
Yeah, never have a problem. Never lose the business on the marketing schedule. Never. The only thing I'll do sometimes is I'll just, say to them, I'll upgrade your photo to a photo board because I believe in that. Sometimes I want to be involved. I want them to see that I'm involved in it, or maybe we didn't discuss it and I'm not going to go back and ask them for $100 more. I'm going to throw it in. I'm not going to be stingy like that. The value for them is that there are so many more eyeballs that will engage over video than, in my opinion, over photos. It gives us a completely different platform to show their property. So you'll get next to no engagement. Statistics show this on social platforms through still photography. You will get a significant amount of engagement from video. So you will expose your property to so many more people for the sake of a few $100s. And also, I find the big thing, this is what I push to sellers, and this is absolutely true. If I put a video out there and the client watches it, when they come to the property, I can tell they've watched the video. They are so much more comfortable with me. And that's why the video's got to be, don't be an absolute, slick agent and don't make it absolutely perfect. I think they're relatable. I think the message that we're trying to get across to clients in terms of what they will like about this house is there. But it's who I am. So when they come to the property, you can just tell they're at ease. The last thing people want to deal with is a real estate agent. And if they come to the property and their guard's down, they're relaxed with me, they're going to take in the home, and I'm going to have a much better shot of getting them to buy that property.
I've never thought of that. I've thought of video for agents as putting your name out there and, again, just boosting your profile publicly and good marketing, adding to your value and all of that. But I've never actually considered that it makes you more approachable at a property and allows you to sell in a more sincere way. That's very interesting.
And so I've only just come out of a listing presentation with a client and I was saying exactly that. And they said, actually, you're right. We watched a video. We came to your open home and now you're sitting here in the lounge room. So obviously it has benefited me. But when I said to them about that, they said, yeah, we did feel more relaxed. And if we were a buyer, we probably would have felt more relaxed about the property. So they want that for their home because they think the buyer's more of a chance to buy it. So obviously, again, it's really important that my property videos represent who I actually am. So they don't come to the home and they go, where's that 20-year-old guy? Who's this 37-year-old fossil?
Yeah, we haven't gotten to photoshopping people on video yet. We'll get there. Joel, how important, when you look at your photography, what's the ultimate goal for you as a business owner growing your business? Is your marketing more important in selling the house, or is it more important in getting the next listing?
Oh, it's obvious. I mean, they're as important as each other because at the end of the day, if I don't sell the house and get a great price, I'm not getting the next listing anyway. I'm getting phone calls because we're getting great results. But obviously at the same time, I feel we're getting more business off the back of the really good marketing that we do. So it's hand in hand. And I, again, think that's why as an agent, I'll dip into my own pocket to make sure that we keep a consistent level, because if I start throwing some ordinary photos on, if I start doing property without a floor plan, if I'm handing out paper brochures, instead of my nice gloss 300 GSM 4-page brochure that we give out, it will change. People will say, okay, this guy's dropped off the perch. And the reality is there's another agent that is wanting to take my spot, just like there's another photographer that wants to take yours. So you have to keep at the top of your game. And I think if people are listening and they've invested their time into training and learning, they're listening to this podcast, they're going to conferences, they're asking agents for feedback, as Dave and I have always done. He doesn't mind telling me when he's like, that didn't make sense. He's like, you said the word home 3 times in that sentence. You seem a bit flat, Joel. And then I'll reciprocate and I say, listen, that shoot was a bit darker than I'd like it to be a bit lighter. There's always that back and forth. But if you're not consistently learning and training, you can't expect to get the business. So I am really passionate, and I'm really, the energy is there with my clients because I have done the work. I've done the training. I've put myself in uncomfortable positions. I've gone to many conferences to know that I am the best person to assist them with the sale of their property. So likewise of the photographers, what are you doing to upskill, to learn, to take feedback? You should always be learning. You're never the best, to make sure that you're at the top of your game so that when that next person comes in to try and take your business, that you can confidently say, you know what, I am the best at this and I deserve the business and I'm going to keep getting this agent's business. So always have to be sharpening the sword, as they say.
What would you say if you could go back and speak to that plumber who just turned up and wanted to be a real estate agent? What would you say the number one bit of advice you could pass on to him would be?
Just simply consistency. Consistency, that's all it is. Yep. And if you can only afford to do one thing, do that consistently. Don't let a box drop 1 week and then stop for a month and then cold call and then stop for a month. You've just got to pick your mark and keep going at it. If you're a face-to-face person, just keep going into the office. If you're good on the phone, just keep making calls. Ideally, do all of it. But if you're time poor, financially, you don't have the funds to, keep putting out great collateral consistently, letterbox dropping in area, whatever it might be, just pick your mark and do it consistently. We are getting our results now off the back of letterbox dropping religiously every single fortnight for 15 months now. And I did that in Victoria for, 9 odd years, and we never stopped. So you just always have to be top of mind for me, for clients, because you call them, they say, no, we're really happy, Joel. And the following day, something happens, divorce, death, a job relocation. You have to be top of mind. So you can't just expect, I sold the property 3 years ago and they're going to call me back. They've got to be getting my stuff in the letterbox. They've got to get a routine text message. They've got to, get a phone call every now and again to check in to see how they're going, to stay top of mind. So likewise with the photographers, you need to be making sure that the agents see you. How can you check in without pestering to make sure you're top of mind?
Joel, it's been just enlightening talking to you. We talk to a lot of photographers about what we think our clients want and what we think agents want, but to actually hear it from you, there's just some absolutely golden information that I'm sure people are going to find extremely valuable. So thank you very, very much for taking the time to talk to us. For people listening, if you're on the Sunshine Coast and you were looking at selling your house, Joel Hood is, he's from Joel Hood Property, and obviously you can hear that he's just an exceptional real estate agent with a lot of experience and a lot of integrity. And yeah, it's been just a privilege to chat to you.
No, thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Dave. It was a lot of fun. I'm a big believer in hopefully giving some content. I listen to a lot of podcasts and listen to a lot of training. So hopefully people have gotten something out of that. I guess for me, again, the main thing is just keep up the consistency. Whatever you're doing, it will come. You just have to be consistent.
Awesome. And while you're being consistent, could you consistently go and like and subscribe to our podcast so that you can stay up to date with all of this great content? And we will catch you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Joel.